How's it going today? I hope you guys had a good day trading. Like always, I kind of want to start doing where I just ask you guys to leave your setups and what you guys took today in the comments, because I actually have a lot of fun reading your guys' entries and kind of just seeing your guys' perspective on the market, right? It doesn't really influence anything for me in terms of, FOMO or anything like that. So feel free to just let me know the trades you took or trades you didn't take or why not, because it's just interesting for me to see that stuff. And also too, it's crazy how when you guys tell me like a time of day, it's interesting how I pretty much know exactly the trade that you guys are talking about almost every single time. Like you guys will say, oh, I took a trade at, I took this IFVG in the 950 macro after taking sell side, and it's like I can just like envision it in my head because of how often, or just the fact that I look at these charts all day, every day. But on our paper account, we are down because we just took a little continuation long. But on our actual account, we made some mistakes today. We're up about $100. We took 2 losses, 2 wins. Not the most thrilling. I cannot lie. I'll show the executions real quick. Right, it looks hectic, but I'll break it down for you guys later in a second. Try to take an original longs here. I'll go over the mistakes I made there, and then FOMO'd another long right here, which was just dumb. I'll go over that again. Obviously, I just go over my mistakes. Then continuation with the trend. We had a fair value gap inverse. Took a short to the weekly objective. That one brought me back to around even. And this fair value gap, I do want to take a practice long. On the practice account, I want to go long, and this is ridiculous, bro. Why is it just ripping? We'll go 4 contracts. 4. That's a horrible fill. Don't worry about it, because I would have gotten in on. Was there a 30-second? I guess not, but it is what it is. This is interesting. PA. I expect us to take out this high, and this 5-minute I want to see get ran. Again, I could be wrong. I can always be wrong, guys. Don't worry. And we'll take one off there, and then we'll leave our runner for data highs. So that'll be the trade. We'll risk around. We really shouldn't see us come back down to equilibrium of that candle, so we're risking 200. So that's pretty solid. This is where I would go break even. I'm just gonna go to my other account, my other account, so I don't have to worry about seeing that price action. But anyways, we took a few trades and then we caught this long, but we made a lot of mistakes throughout the day, so I do want to go over it. And there's really a lot going on today that was pretty interesting to me. So I do think today is very interesting, right? I want to go over today's price action. ES, right? We'll start with ES. 15-minute going to market open. What was I looking at here? Before we have this massive sell-off right here, before market open, I was very bullish, right? I was really bullish. I don't know why we sold off so ridiculously hard, but we had this imbalance, and just for the sake of visually, I'm just going to leave this part untouched just so it doesn't make everything look so junky, right? We had a 30-minute imbalance, and I really wanted to see us open up and take out these lows, stall around here, maybe equilibrium of the fair value gap, and then displace higher, because in my opinion, it looked like on the 30-minute, it looked like a clean AMD model, right? We have our original consolidation, right? We have our manipulation to the downside, running sells, running buy stops right here, and then we get displacement higher. Sweeping out this high, we had an SMT, which I guess ended up sending price lower, and then we had this target here, which is all-time highs. Really wanted to see just this area get manipulated off open, maybe off news, and then get direction higher. So I was really long bias, and again, I wrote down my journal. I am bullish as ES looks like a perfect AMD model, yesterday being the manipulation lower to fuel the pump higher overnight. I want to run London lows / equal lows on NQ to then look for longs. I will be careful before 10 a.m. red folder news to look for shorts. I either have to see London or Asia high get swept. So I want to see this get swept or this get swept, or I would need to see this 30-minute imbalance get ran through. So obviously, this was a weekly fair value gap, which became a draw, and then this was the final draw, which we took everything Besides this, I would need to see displacement through this low to validate lower. I think we just came to stop every one of the bulls out before going back to all-time highs, because whenever we are at all-time highs, the market wants to do max pain, right? Everyone that's just long in here, long in here, long in here. Anyone that didn't get stopped out here, right, when we swept this low yesterday, anyone that had their stop loss at the weekly fair value gap or this low right here, right, because this would make sense. You get these lows here, your stops here, you get this move. You're not going to just instantly move to this low. You get this, you get new all-time highs here, right? When we run all-time highs, we get more stops here. It makes sense that we're going to come down and get them. I just didn't think it'd be so aggressive. Maybe there's some type of news event today, but that's what my bias was. And the same on NQ. NQ looked very similar. I just wanted to go over ES because I could do the replay easier. That was my bias. And then obviously market ends up absolutely tanking. So the first trade I took was based off the 15-minute. I want to show you guys something here. If you notice, this 15-minute fair value gap right here ends up getting swept off news, and ends up getting swept right here, right? We tap into the fair value gap, and NQ didn't. So NQ on this 15-minute, right? This was the 15-minute here. We never swept that high with the 10 a.m. candle, the data high right here. We never swept it. So we had an SMT here. And then the first nice setup that you could have taken was this short right here, an inverse fair value gap after SMT here off data news. But it's a little bit scary because you just sold off. You've just sold off over 270 points, but you could have taken a trade there and had continuations through. If you got in short here, you could continue to this low, and then these lows. And it would have been actually probably the best entry in terms of just the points that moved, which is cool. We made equal highs here, but I didn't grab that trade. I didn't have confidence in it. I wasn't really necessarily looking for that. What did I take the first entry and why? Right, we have this objective here, which is the low I want to see as run, or my first trade actually rather. Right, we respecting this 5-minute. This was still bearish. Right, we tap into this wicks of the order block. We sell off, but my first trade was this inverse fair value gap right here. On the 2-minute, I should not have. One thing I need to do is, because I'm fighting the trend, right? We're fighting the trend. It's a very, very strong trend down, right? If it's a very strong trend down, my mistake today was not recognizing that we haven't taken out this last low yet, which we do eventually. So keep in mind this red line, right? There's no real low besides these ones here that I have any interest in before this low, right? So or after this low, right? After this low, there is about 300 points till the next low, and we have a new week opening gap right underneath that I just don't expect us to really just fall through. So looking back now, one of the things I want to just remember and just remember is that I should not be fighting the trend at this point, right? We never even break structure to the upside on any real swing high. And I end up getting in, and we made relative equal lows with a really high time frame, high confluence low that we've been clearly bearish all day. So this is me trying to pick bottoms. Very bad on my end, just not a good look. I'll kind of show the trade real quick. I did hold it well. That's the only positive I will give myself, is I held the trade very well. I was happy with that, even though it was a loss, right? We got in the trade, and we could have done better here too. I could have waited for a tap back to this imbalance. We got in early just off the close, and I hold through it, and we obviously lose. So I could have probably killed the trade maybe earlier, but I didn't want to get out of the trade early, right? I didn't want to just, panic out. I could have sold here. But it is what it is, right? We end up losing. Around 170, I think. So we were down 170 there. Wasn't the end of the world. The trade that I should not have taken was the next trade. I got FOMO right when I saw this candle start expanding up. I was like, you know what? My original idea is longs. We have a 1-minute fair value gap here. We're delivering from it. We're gonna go higher, right? This LR. And again, I was just, this was a horrible trade. This is a trade that I should never be taking, right? Which, again, I'm just learning from these mistakes. I'm not going to dwell on them. I'm not going to, ruin my conviction with how I trade. This is just a bad execution, just a bad thought process, just letting impulse take over, just seeing a little reaction and just marrying the bias, right, without any extra confluences to enter the trade, right? If we had a 1-minute inverse fair value gap here, then maybe I'd like the trade, but I don't. We ended up getting stopped out, and I shouldn't have changed my loss limit, but we were down 260. And I did. So that's another thing. I should not have jumped back in. So we end up doing more damage by impulsively getting back in, right? That put us down more money. So then what did I see? I saw that this 5 minute got inversed. I knew that withdrawal was lower. After taking that loss, I recognized price just wasn't going to continue lower. And it looks like we hit our take profits on our paper trade. So we hit our take profits. I will now move, maybe not to even break even, but I guess I have to go break even. Yeah, it should continue here. Realistically, it should continue. I don't see ES right now. Yeah, ES is just stalling there, but we should continue here. This fair value gap should hold. But this is kind of getting me sidetracked. This just does not matter at all. But yeah, we could even dig into this fair value gap, but there's really no need. I think I'll just flatten this or get rid of that. Yeah, it doesn't matter. But this was a nice, this reaction, obviously this candle entry was late. You guys saw it, but it was just really the test draw on liquidity. That was something ICT was talking about this morning. And his mentorship was just take trades to test your eye for the draw on liquidity. And that makes a lot of sense and something I've been doing. But anyways, this 5 minute got ran. And then I wasn't sold on it yet. I really wanted to see this go. And then when this broke, I kind of caught it a second late. I'll go over in the video what I took and why. Right here. So this is when I saw the market obviously close below. I jumped in right away, then started a video, so I was really close to the entry. 2 micros at first because there was a 30-second imbalance I wanted to see. And I was like, okay, if this 30-second inverses, I'll add 2 more. Since I was down, I had good risk. I was risking less than 200. I was really risking less than 200 here. I was risking 100. And then this 30-second, when this inverse there, I was like, bet I'm going to add 2 because this is, I'd be very shocked if we didn't hit this low. I was risking 200, so 170 actually. So I had good risk, right? I wasn't happy with my first 2 longs, so I think this was a little bit of just frustration taking over, trying to just make back money on the day. But in terms of the setup, I actually do like the setup. But I do recognize that I shouldn't have been longing before, which was a mistake, right? And that leads to being more emotional, maybe risking too much, right? If this trade lost, it could have easily lost. I would have been down, I was down 200. No, I was down 260. I would have been down 364. I would have lost 400 today. And that just wouldn't be fun. It really just would not be fun to lose that much, right? But this trade actually works very well. I just held good. I had a good stop. I didn't go to break even too quick. And then where did we had a limit order 3 here, and then my last take profit was in the new week opening gap. Obviously, if I just held this trade to the new week opening gap, I would have made a lot of money and been positive a lot more on the day, but I didn't. I end up trailing. I didn't let go, so I haven't moved my stop loss here yet. That's something that's important because I wanted to see this flush through. So I hadn't let go. If you pay attention, I don't let go of the stop loss, and I move it back when it starts going against me. So this is not me moving my stop loss too early. It was just me preparing for a big sell-off, right? We were at the end of the macro that I want to see us run through. So I really wanted to see some type of continuation. So I was just holding and hovering with my stop loss just in case, right? We would have made 500. We would have made 250 today if we just held to the new week opening gap, but you know, you can't just hold indefinitely. So I wait for the trade to play out. I haven't moved my stop, which I'm happy about. I think that, you know, again, like I said, the losses before influenced my decision and maybe influenced my take profits, right? Because if I didn't have a loss before, I could have just taken 3 off here, maybe even 2 off and let runners go to here, right? Trail my stop. Whatever, we could have maybe done this differently, but since we were down, it influenced a lot of things, and that's fine, right? We live and we learn. We're gonna get better slowly. It's not a race, right? I don't need to pass my account today. I don't need to be profitable today. It takes out my limit order, didn't fill me right away, and I trailed this because I was gonna take all 4 off. I ended up moving my stop, and we ended up banking another about 7 points, which is cool. This trade ends up working well, and yeah, again, it's a good trade, right? But what are the things I don't like about it? It's just me overly relying on the trend, right? It's just me overly hoping that the trend is going to continue. But we had a clear draw on liquidity. We made relative equal lows. We were holding price structure that validates it. Let's see if we had an SMT. I don't know. We failed to take out this high. So a lot of times you'll see this with ES. You'll see it fail to take out a high and go lower. ES had its last target of the week. And that's framed my next trade here. That framed my trade. And this one I made a mistake, right? On my next trade, I should not have done what I'm about to show you. But anyways, when we take out this low and ES starts ripping, I had a lot of confidence, right? When ES broke this on the 11.25, we inversed this whole big gap. So I knew that these equal highs were toast. And I want to see the data high eventually. And that's kind of that was my confluence for this long. And on NQ, I end up taking this 2 minute right here, which it didn't close all the way, but I got in a little early, and I do want to show this execution because do I get this one? I got in here. I got in on the 2 minute here when it closed, or before it closed, but it started running up, and I held the trade, and then I just kind of went to break even just because I hate these straight up moves. They always scare me. It always makes me feel like I'm, just getting lucky. So I moved my stop loss because the 5 minute hadn't closed yet. I didn't like this wick in the 5 minute. Again, just really micromanaged. I got out of the trade for break even on this one. But again, a lot of this has to do with, I will be completely honest, a lot of this has to do with fear, right? I was already afraid, or not already, but I was already fearful because I took so many losses. I finally got back to break even on the day. I wasn't really stoked to throw away, the break even day after kind of struggling early. But I had a lot of conviction in this move, so I was like, I really like this. What can I do to get back in this? And I was like, okay, if this 5 minute, this whole gap here breaks, I will then long because I will be very confident that we can take out these highs here. And we would have hit this one. It would have been a sweat, right? It would have come back down, but I was confident we were going to hit these equal highs, I was like, cool, that's 50 points. I'm more than happy with that. And that's where my last trade, I knew this was going to be my last trade. I was like, okay, I'm going to lock my account after this. If this works or doesn't work, I'll lock my account, which I did. And I was waiting, and I end up getting in the trade when it closed. $200 risk. Wasn't really sure where I want to put my stop loss because it's just a big move. But it was around a 1-to-1. So I had my stop loss at that, or take profit there. I was kind of nervous through the trade, but everything looked good, really. I mean, once I went to break even at these equal highs here, and I'll explain that. I don't hate this because this is a big stop loss, right? This is a big stop loss. When we put in this signature and price on the 1 minute, if we pause on this 1 minute right here, and I was kind of explaining this to my dad, who you can see in the corner right here. Yeah. But anyways, when I see this price structure, I kind of want to explain this. When I see this, right, we hold this imbalance right here. It's kind of hard to see. You probably have to zoom in. And we get chopped, and then we displace higher through these equal highs here, right, where we already have resistance, and we close above it. Since I don't want to lose, right, I'll move my stop loss, so $20 in profit. We hit the break-even point. The reason why I'm confident in doing this is because this is a very algorithmic move. We should see this high, and that's where I was going to take my first profit. So that's going to be where I take my first profit. Really, there's nothing really stopping us between here and this, and there's no need to hold my stop loss here because if we're going to sell off and keep going down, right, who knows where we stop. There's no need to take a $200 loss when all we're trying to do is get into this, suffer through the original chop, see an expansion, right? And there's really no reason for price to come back down and rebalance. We rebalance to the 5 minute inverse. We rebalance to a 1 minute inverse, this order block, and we're holding. So I don't hate this break even. A lot of you guys will say, oh, it was way too early. I don't hate this break even just because of the things I explained. And then I hit my take profit at these body highs. And now it was a free trade, right? I do wish that I just closed the whole trade here when it was up $100. My account would have been back over 1,000. But that is hindsight. That is results based. That has nothing to do with the actual charts, right? If it went up and hit this take profit, that was $300, $319. So would have been a monster day. Would have been a $400 day. So I don't hate it, right? Because we could have very easily just pumped and pumped and pumped, right? And I was fine doing this. The only thing that was annoying was just that I took $11 on the break even. It was looking bearish at this point. I probably could have got away from it, and I got stopped for 14 or so. But still, it's fine. We end up making 136 on the day after a tough day. Today didn't go according to plan, right? Today did not, it did not go according to plan. And what I mean by that is just right? I was not anticipating such a big aggressive sell-off, right? I was not anticipating a 440 point move off open. I was definitely not expecting that. So I kind of had to reevaluate my bias, which I'm very happy with how I managed today's positions. Because this can be always a tricky day, right? Whenever the objective looks super clean, in my opinion, right, to go higher out of this imbalance, and we just rip lower, right, it kind of throws me off, right? And then so the mistakes I want to go over, just looking for longs, I was just being a perma bull early. I needed to get away from that. And then impulsing back into the long after losing, that was bad. That was just an extra loss that I didn't need to take. Cuts down on the profit for today. And then the short was good. I like the short, but it's also just a little bit chasey, right? And then I like the long a lot. I just wish I managed the position better, was more confident in my trade, and just kind of let things play out instead of micromanaging. But why did I have those mistakes today? I mean, I can be honest and recognize that there was just a lot of emotion involved. When the first sell-off, everything kind of went against my plan. I kind of had to flip my bias on the spot. I kind of had to flip my ideas, and then taking the loss right away, being kind of frustrated with it, I had to manage that frustration, with the rest of the trades, and kind of just pick myself up and just reevaluate the charts and kind of really figure out what was going on, what I wanted to do. And then when I went back to break even, I like this setup. This is what I was looking for all day, because I know that when we're selling like this, especially when we have such a big move, it's almost 80 points on ES, right? I know that we can get some type of healthy retracement. This is 28 points. It's very, very healthy. Off open, right, this is a nice retracement close to equilibrium. And that was just something I was anticipating that I'm very confident in, right? Just statistically, you're going to get some sort of reaction. Where was the highest probability for a reaction? It was at the last low, right? Makes a lot of sense to me. I think that by the end of the week, I would actually place money that we go to all-time highs, right? Obviously, I could be wrong, but that's just my opinion, right? And looking back, maybe I could have been more bearish because we did sweep Friday's high with an SMT and then market open, but there's really just nothing, I think, in my opinion, that I could have really longed or shorted. Off open until where I did. So overall, I'm happy with today. Again, a lot of mistakes, but we're slowly going to get better, right? That's part of the process. Our account is now back to 950. And yeah, good start to the month, I guess. Good start to October. Hopefully we can keep doing good this week. Hopefully we get good price action. We should have some nice price action tomorrow, actually, after this move. Overall, this is a very healthy move lower because now we have a big range that we can play in. We have fair value gaps on the bigger time frame, right? We have a lot of stuff going on in our favor that I really do like, so I really cannot complain. Again, just disappointed, right? There's always some disappointment when you trade bad or you do bad things, right? But we always have more chances to improve. We always have another day, right? It's not ever the end of the world, and we'll come back tomorrow and we hopefully do better, right? So we have this. See if we have a daily fair value gap anywhere. We do not. These will be the next lows. But yeah, I mean, market's doing its thing. We keep improving every day, right? It's not ever the end of the world, right? And we just come back stronger. So I appreciate you guys for watching the video. Again, let me know in the comments what you guys saw. And yeah, again, a little disclaimer for all the people that love to just tell me what I do wrong, as if I literally don't go over that stuff, right? Again, it does not matter. You are free to comment whatever you want. But it's more of just to save your own time. Like, there's no need for you to, there's so many of you guys that are just normal people that are supportive and just leave positivity and, or actual, helpful tips, right? But then there's just a good group of people that love to just come in and, just talk about the most nonsense stuff like, oh, you shouldn't be doing this or that, when clearly they don't watch the video because I specifically go over the same thing they're talking about and talk about how that's a problem for me. And then they just tell me to do that. It's I don't know. So that's just kind of a rant, and it's really just more annoying. It's it doesn't bother me, right? It doesn't change anything. It doesn't bring me down or anything like that. It doesn't hurt my trading, but it's just annoying, bro. Because I like to respond to every comment. So, and even those comments, I still read them. And when you send me a paragraph telling me something that I talk about in the entire video, right? When I talk about not holding my trades, or I talk about moving my stop too early, when someone sits there and types a paragraph, I don't know that they're typing that paragraph until after I finish reading it. So waste about a minute of my time, reading that entire sentence, the paragraph they post about something I go over extensively in my videos. So nobody that's leaving those comments is going to make it this far. But if they do, it's really annoying, bro, because it doesn't make any sense, right? But again, you're free to comment whatever you want. It helps the algorithm, so it really doesn't matter to me. But it does waste my time and it annoys me because I do get a decent amount of comments. I really do appreciate it, right? Like, I get a fair amount of comments, and it takes probably 20 to 30 minutes out of my day to respond and read them all. So it just is annoying when people leave dumb comments. So again, most of you guys don't do that. Anyone that's watching this far is not going to do that. So I appreciate you guys, and thank you guys for all the support, and we keep getting better. You guys will see where we take this. Peace.